Okay, year five, we have something a little bit complicated but really nice for you to do this time round. And it's a 1980s game called Asteroids. And I'll just play it for you. So I'm going to click this here and we rotate in the middle and we have to shoot the asteroids that they come at us. Okay, so as you can see, we're rotating in the middle and we have to shoot. So let's go through the code. You will get a PDF with all this code on it so you can copy it. So when flag click, switch to costume 1. So we're on the first sprite. Costume 1 is just a normal triangle. Then we copy this, because we've got to make this ourselves, into the first button, paint new sprite. And we're going to put a laser. So if I just open this costume up, say edit, we notice we just got a laser shooting out for probably about 2.5 inches or 5 or 6 centimeters, just so it doesn't touch the edge of the plate, edge of the actual stage. If we go back to scripts, we're forever moving. You can have either 1 or 2 steps, because that's just going round, because you're rotating round. I suppose what we could do is move that down there and actually put that on there, then we can get rid of that. And we'll just add another move 1 step. So I'm just going to duplicate that. That might make it a bit smoother. Okay, so we've got X, turn 15 degrees, move 1 step. Let's just try it. There we go, that's smoother. Okay. Now what we can also do is we can put some music going on in the background. So I'm going to just put forever. So it does that. I'm going to go into sounds and I want to get a sound. So I'm going to say play sound till it's done. I need to go into sounds and choose a music sound for us in our background. So I'm going to say import. I want to go to music, so I go up a level, effects, music loops. And I want something techno, so let's just listen to them. I don't know that one. Let's do it again, import sound. Suppose we could have drum machine. What about hip hop in the background? That's good. Okay, so that gives us our background music. So in here we're going to say play hip hop until it's done. We're going to change volume on this by -10. Well, if we do that forever, it's not going to do it. So let's just change volume by -10 up there and just see what happens when we do on here. Right, so that's our music. Got the asteroids breaking. Okay. Right, so I just turned it down a little bit, so I've got change volume by -10 up there, and forever play the hip hop sound. On this one, we're going to say when Z is pressed, or Z, it rotates 15 degrees one way. When X is pressed on the keyboard, rotates the other way. This control is here in space when key pressed, and you're just going to say when X down here, and it turns into that. Okay. When flag click, show forever. So you must put this in a forever, and then it's an if else. So if touching color pink, which is the neon color pink that we've got these. So what you do is you'd click in the middle of the selection, then whatever color you've done your asteroids, you'd click there. So I've missed that one, as you can see. You'll be right on it to do it. There we go. Hide, change score by 1 forever if it touches it. Show, wait 0.3 seconds, else go to 0, 0. So what we're doing here is we're staying in the middle, we're just turning around, but we're scoring points if we touch these. When space key pressed, switch from costume 2, wait 0.25 seconds, play laser sound, and switch to costume 1. Well, that's costume 1, that's costume 2, and you can see it on the actual board. Now, these 4 are exactly the same, so they're quite easy to make once you've done the first one. When flag clicked, forever if touching sprite 2, 3, 4, or 5, play sound alien 3, which we just import. You can put any sound you want here, and then change score by -5. That might be a little too much, so I might say -2 on these. -2. So if the asteroid hits you, you lose 2 points. And here that we've just seen, we've got the music in the background. So I'm going to click on the first asteroid. Obviously, it's one that I've painted. Excuse me. Very simple code. When flag click, show a forever inside an if else. So if we're touching sprite 1, we're going to hide, play screech sound, change score by 1 because we've scored. Wait 0.3, go back to the corners and then start again. Else, we're going to move, pick random speed 1 to 10, if on edge bounce. Now you can make them slower just by get them moving at maybe 5, so you don't have to do that. That's something you can add in later. If I go to the next one, as you can see, the only difference here is the go to down here. Yep. Click on this one. Same code again, only difference is the go to, because we want them coming out the 4 corners. So it's the X and Y coordinates for them in the corners. So this one is -183, so we find -183 would be down here, and 117. So that one's coming from this corner up here. So if I start, you'll notice they all come from the corners once they disappear. Okay, so although there's a lot of coding on it, it's not that difficult. You just got to follow the code. Space on the actual backgrounds. Well, I've just done it straightforward black, but you can put stars in there as well if you want to. But I like the old-fashioned 1980s look, which was very similar to this. So like I say, work with the PDF, copy it out, and then just slowly go through the code. Start making your triangle to start with. You'll need 2 costumes and a script. These 4 are the same, they've just got different sprites names, so you can copy those out once you've done one and change the sprite names. This is nice and easy. Well, in fact, it's all nice and easy. It's just a lot of it. So I hope you have fun with that, year 5, and it's a little bit of a break from calculators. Okay, bye. Okay, year 3, we're about to do a new game in Scratch. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the scissors and cut Scratch. Next we're going to go to the middle button, get transportation, and remember if it's on another one just go back to this button here and say transportation, and we want to get the plane, little orange plane. We're going to put it up here and we're going to make it a little bit smaller. Okay, now we're going to program it. Remember to press the middle button, and then we're going to do when clicked forever move. We only want it to move one, so just go in here, move one, and bounce off edge. Okay, and because we've clicked this it will keep the right way around, so let's just test that. Just flying along. Okay, that works. We'll stop it there. Now we've got to make a background, so what I'm going to do now is click down here on the stage, make sure you're on the stage, background, edit, and I'm just going to colour it light blue for the sky, and I'm going to put some brown down for the ground. Just going to use the square tool. There we go. And press OK. So let's try again. There we go. So now we have the plane flying in the sky. Stop it. Now we need to make a parachute. So what I'm going to do is paint new sprite. I'm going to paint a little fan like this, and then I'm going to join it up with a gap in between, and then it coming round. I'm going to fill in white on that, and I'm going to put the package in a brown box. Press OK. Now you can see this is quite big at the moment. This is the parachute. What I'm going to do is make it smaller. There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is actually give it some code. So the first thing I'm going to say is when clicked, I'm going to make a variable and call it drop. So we're making a variable called drop for this sprite only. Press OK, and that's our variable drop there. And I'm going to say set drop to 0. Then I'm going to say when space key pressed, so when I press the space key, forever if, let's see what we've got down here, forever if, preliminary, and now I need to go and get an equal sign, so I go into operators, which is the green one, and I get the equal sign and put it in there. I'm going to go back to variables and get drop, put that into, so when drop equals 0, so we'll put 0 in there, hide, so we go to looks, and we put in hide, then we're going to say go to sprite 1, so down here, go to, and if you look there's a little black triangle, and we're going to say go to sprite 1, back to looks, and I'm going to say show. Before that, we need just a little bit of time. So I'm going to say wait. And this time I'm going to say wait point, which is a full stop, and a 1. 0.1 seconds. And I'm going to put that in between go to sprite 1 and show. And then I need the glide sign. So this is the glide. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick random. Pick random, put it in that first box. Now, I'm going to put the ground in as -125. And I'm going to say pick random -237 or -238. Okay, so that's minus, and this is just 238. And I'm going to put hide afterwards. So when it gets down to that level, we want it to hide. So go to looks, and it will hide. And let's just test that now. So if we're looking at our screen and place the flag, and if you notice, what's happening now is the plane is dropping lots of parachutes. Let's just change that to 3 or to 2. Try 2 to start with. And stop it. And start it again. Press. There we go. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to put hide up here at the very start. And now the plane is dropping lots and lots of parachutes. Good. Stop it. Start it again. Press. And it's dropping lots and lots of parachutes. So, what's going to pick the parachutes up? Well, I am now going to make a car, or we can get a car. So I'm going to go into choose new sprite from file, in transportation, and I'm going to choose car 1. Put him down on the ground and make him smaller. Okay. So car 1 at the bottom. Remember to click this middle one so he doesn't go upside down. Now I'm going to say when green flag collect forever, and I want an if. So forever, if touching, so I need to go to sensing for that because that's a touching. Forever if touching sprite 2, hide change score by 1. So we need to make another variable, and we'll make that variable, we'll say for the sprite only, we're going to call it score. Okay. So we're going to say set score or change score by 1. We're going to need to start with a when flag collect, set score to 0, and we want the car to go to the start position where it is now. So we're going to go to motion, and we're just going to grab the go to block. There we go. When green flag clicked, we're going to say show. And now we just need some controls on the car. So we're going to say when right arrow pressed, point in the direction right, move 10 steps. I'm just going to copy this and change it to left. Okay, so that gives us our control on the arrows, so we can go backwards and forwards. So let's start it again. And we have to avoid and pick up as many packages as we can. And each time we pick a package up, we want to make sure that our score is going up. So I'll just stop that now. So just change score by 1. So let's just double check this. If touching sprite 2, hide, and that's in a forever box, and change score by 1. So let's just check that's doing it. We don't need drop, so if we go to variables, we don't need to see drop. So let's just see where drop is. No, we don't need to see that. And we'll try it again. Now the problem we've got here is that the car isn't quite big enough. So I'm going to make the car a little bit bigger and move him up just a little bit, because he's got to be big enough to actually catch the parcels. Let's do it again. In which case, when I go to the car, I'm just going to change this out to the new measurements. Press go. So I'm going to drop these down, and I've really got to. Okay, the car's gone now. So the car needs to disappear, which we've got here, and it needs to disappear for 1 second and then show, and that shows us that it's caught the package, gone back, delivered it, and then come back again. So let's start again. Right, off we go. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, and that's the game. So you've got to pick up as many packages to get as high points as you can. Once you pick a package up, you automatically disappear and go back to the depot, and then have to start again. So have fun with that year 3, and I'll make another one for next week. Goodbye. Hello Class 3. Okay, today on Scratch, for our second lesson, we're going to use Scratch as a musical instrument, and we're actually going to play musical notes using Scratch. So, how are we going to do this? Okay, we're going to leave the character of the cat on, and let's give him a laptop. So I'm going to go into the second button, and I'm going to go down to things. Remember, if you're in animals or anything else, just go back to costumes and then just open things. And let's just find that laptop. There it is. Okay, I'm going to make it slightly smaller. There we go. And put it next to him because he's going to make music with his laptop. And now we're going to go down to stage and just give him a nice background. So if I move to backgrounds, I'm going to go to import, which means to get a background rather than drawing one. Go to nature. Tree one sounds nice, we can go in there. Now what I want to do is I want to play certain notes to make our song. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit the background just to show you the notes that we're going to play to make our song. So as you can see, if I bring it up here, we've got the typing tool. It's got a handle at the top. I'm going to bring it down to the bottom. And I'm just going to put in the notes that we're going to program. It's going to be CC, GG, just one space, 4 A's, the next bar is going to be G, and the next bar is going to be FF, EE, DD, and a C to finish off with. So it brings it back round. So as you can see, there's no flats or sharps, so it's going to be in the key of C. So it's CC space GG space 4 A's space G space FF space EE space DD space C. We'll just say OK. So if we go back to the cat, so we're going to click on the cat and we're going to go to scripts. Now the important thing about scripts is we're going to start off with when green flag clicked. Now all the rest will be in sound, and the first thing I'm going to do is set my instrument. So let's find set instrument, and I'm going to set it to piano number 1 or piano number 2. No, I think I'm going to go to an acoustic grand piano. There we go, number 1. There's loads of instruments we can change it to. Now the first note I'm going to play is going to be, if I come in here, can you see there's that little triangle? Now I have a keyboard and I want to play C. So that's my first note. And if we look at our notes that we want to play on here, I've got 2 C's. Now the next thing I want is 2 G's. So let's get play note, and I've got to find the G. So where's the G? I'm just going to move up, E, F, G. There it is. G is 67. And I'll do that again. So I need to go in here and up to G. So we've got our C, C and GG. Now I want 4 A's. So I'm going to get this out. Choose A, which is a little bit further up there. Now because there's 4 beats to this bar, I'm going to make it 0.25. So just click in there, 0.25. So they're a little bit quicker. And because I'm putting 4 in, I'm just going to duplicate these and put them together. There we go. Now I'm going to duplicate those 2, and I've got my 4 A notes. Put those together. And then we've got a single G. So move down here. And if I remember rightly, G was 67. So we can move straight up to 67. Now, we need F and F. So I'm going to bring my next note out. Just find F on the board, 65. Next note out. We need another F, 65. And if we look at this again, we need 2 E's next. Bring it out. So E is going to be a little bit further down, 64. Play note, 64. Then we're going to need two Ds. Play note. So D is going to be 62. 62 again. Now for our final note, we want to go back to C. And C is where we are on 60. So now we've chose our instrument, we've got our music down, C, C, G, G, A, G, F, F, E, E, D, D, C. So now all we have to do is play it. And again. If you notice, because that G is on its own and it needs to be one bar, so we need to go up to that G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 67. We need to make that a whole beat, so I'm going to change that to 1. Let's play it again. There we go, that sounds much better. Alright, so we've got 0.5, 0.25 for the A's, 1 for the G, that's here, that's a whole bar, and then for the rest of them it's all 0.5. Have fun with that, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye. Okay, Year 5, this game's basically the same as Crossy Roads. What we have to do is get the cat using the arrow keys to get to the drum, and we have these little monsters and they move up and down at different speeds. We're just going to go through the basics of the coding. Again, you'll have a PDF because there is a lot of code here. And I'm just going to go through the meaning. We'll start with Scratch and we'll go all the way through to the stage, which has got the timer on it. So looking at Scratch, first of all, we want everything to go to the position that it needs to be at the start. So when flag clicked, go to X and Y position. And if you put in these numbers, -208 and 0, then the cat will go back here, and then you can see that we've got the go-to on all the other, apart from the drum because that doesn't move, all the other players. Okay. Now as you can see, most of the code is going to be on Scratch because he is going to have to move across and react to the space monsters. So when right key pressed, move 10 steps. When left key pressed, move 10 steps. We only need him to go left or right. So we're only going to use the arrow keys left and right. When flag clicked, if touching green, go back. Now, that was the old game when we left these as green. So this is redundant code now because we've put this new code in here. So I'm going to get rid of this. And for some reason we've called the drum fruit. So if he touches that, he's going to go back to the beginning and say, I win for 2 seconds. Now up here we have the code for when we touch sprite 4, 10 and 11. So it says here, when flag click forever, and this is the sensing, touching, and I'm going to go to this triangle in the corner here and drop down. I'm going to choose sprite 10, and I'm going to put it in the forever if. So forever if, so only if touching sprite 10, go back to the beginning and play scream. How did I get a scream in there? I went to sounds, I went to import, human, and there should be scream in there as well. Back to scripts, and that is exactly the same script 3 times. The only change is which sprite it actually activates. The I win for 2 seconds, you should know by now, is in looks, and the movement is obviously in motion. We have got one variable, timer, and we'll come to that when we get onto the stage. Okay, let's move to the monster. Monster, we're going to use the glide command, and that's going to be in motion. So we want it to start off at the bottom of the page, and then forever glide 2 seconds from the bottom to the top. And these are the numbers, minus 151, minus 165, and we want to stay on the same plane, so he's just going up and down. So minus 165, which is this one here, and 151, which is the opposite of this one. So he's now going to go up and down, so let me just turn it on for you. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just make the cat just a little bit smaller so he's not touching. There we go. A bit bigger. Ooh, don't want that one. Right, put it on again. So you can see they're going up and down, and we're following minus 24 to plus 24. So it's just an inversion of the number. Okay. You'll have the PDF which will have the numbers in, but understand where the X and Y is. Remember, Y to the sky and X is across. So X value goes across, Y value goes up. Okay, we're going to change colour. Let me just stop that for a moment, it's a bit annoying. We're going to change colour effect by 25, which means the pictures will actually be a bit more interesting. They'll change colour. That's why, if you remember, when we go back here, we had the redundant code and we changed it to sprite specific code. Before it was just touching green. And if you've got all green sprites, that's a good one code to do because they're all green. But if you want to change the colour of the sprites like we're doing, you've got to be sprite specific. Okay, so this will be the same for each of these. The only one I've done different is the middle sprite, sprite 10, and if you notice I've just put a pick random 1 to 10 on the glide, so we don't know how fast that one's going to go. So it makes it a little bit more tricky to go across. Let's have a look at the code on the drum. All it is, play hip hop. How did I get the sound? Went to sounds, imported, chose musical loops, and I chose hip hop down here, but you can choose any of these, whichever one you like. Go back to costumes, go back to scripts. I'm playing a drum in between just so the music keeps going even after the loop is played. Okay, so let me just play that for you. Right, so as you can see, because I've added that bass drum in, there's no gap as the loop plays. So we've got when flag click forever, because it's going to go on forever, the length of the game, play the sound, and just add in that drum beat. So now I'm going to come on to the stage. Now this is a standard timer. When green flag clicked, set timer to 0. I want it to go on for basically a minute, so 60 seconds. You could change it to 30 if you wanted a more difficult game. Change timer by 1, wait 1 second, that will give you 60 seconds. If timer equals 60, stop all. Okay. Now, like I say, I will make a PDF of this as well, so you'll have all the code to check through and look through. But basically, if you look at the function of the code, it's all rather simple. These three are exactly the same. This one here is just for when touching the drum at the end. Now, for some reason, we call it fruit. That must have been a piece of fruit at some point. Let me change it to the drum for the music. But this one just simply says if you touch that, you win. So you're going to say, I win for 2 seconds. These are just movement, and this is starting position. So again, here you've got the starting position at the top, and then you've got the movement in the forever block. You've got the play sounds within the drum, and going to the stage you have a timer. This is a standard timer. This is how we always do the timer. If we put it on the stage, it's universal to everything. So remember, you will need to make the timer variable. So you make variable in here, and then you've got these little triangles where you're going to choose timer in there. And then that little lozenge one you just drop into an equals. So that's in operators. Down there, equals. Go back to variable and you just drop that in. So when timer equals, just double click in there and type 60. And then that will drop right into the if with that shape. Okay, so I'll make the PDF as well. Year 5, enjoy that. And once you've got the games, you can make it slightly harder by moving these quicker or slower. And the idea of the game is to get across to the drum. Okay, well done. Hello Class 2. Today we'll be doing a scratch animation about a famous Star Wars character. And as we build him, let's see if you can recognize who it is. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the scissors and we're going to get rid of the cat. Now to draw our own Star Wars character, we're going to have to come right down here to New Sprites, and the first button is Paint a New Sprite. So the first thing I'm going to need is the circle tool, and I want to choose a light grey, and I'm going to make the circle tool about there. You can use light blue as well because I've seen it as light blue. So if I just undo that and put the light blue one in, that might be easier to see. So now I'm going to go to the square tool and I'm going to come back to white. Now I'm going to start with the square tool right in the middle of that circular pattern, and I'm going to go across to the other side and down. Okay, I think he's starting to come to shape, so we'll see if you can remember, see if you can guess who he is. Now I'm going to do his legs, all with the square tool, even a little bit of gap. There we go. And he's got one middle leg as well. And you should be able to see roughly who he is now. It's R2-D2. So now we can put some little detail in the top. And again, we can get some blue or yellow and put some strips in down here. So let's get the yellow for that. And blue again. Going across and down. Okay, and now we can press OK. Now, as you can see, we can't see our R2-D2 on the background here. So let's go now to backgrounds. Moving across down to the stage. Click the stage. Go to backgrounds. Because it's Star Wars, we need to import, which just means to get. And we're going to choose nature. Go all the way down to the moon. Okay, so here's our R2-D2 on the moon. Now, R2-D2 likes to dance, so we're going to give him some moves, some dance moves, by scripting a little bit of a dance, and then we're going to add music to it. So let's see, what do we need first? Well, we need the when flag click to start off with. The forever, because we always need to put in something in the forever group if we want it to go on forever, not just stop on the first time round. We can have a look at the move blocks. Now, if you notice, there's no move blocks there. Why is that? If you look down here, can you see that the stage is highlighted and sprite 1 R2-D2 isn't? Now, this is a common error, so if you ever get this where you click and you go to the motion blocks and you can't see any motion blocks, it's because you're on the stage and not the sprite. So if you go into the sprite, change his name up here, and we're going to put R2-D2. Okay, and again we're going to go up here and put in green flag clicked, forever, move 10 steps, if on edge bounce, just like we normally do. This is code that we've used before lots of times. And if you come up here, remember that you have to press that middle button. Okay, let's just test it. Okay, so R2-D2 is moving backwards and forwards. So now we need to maybe just change in on looks, change the color. So change the color effect. So this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down from the top. And this is change the color effect by 25. So if we have a look at this, it looks like he's really partying on the dance floor then. And if we stop it, we can also add, if we go back to motion, turn 15 degrees. There we go. Let's have a look. Now that looks like he's dancing, doesn't it? Now we need to give him some friends. So let's go up here to the duplicate button. Now remember, when we copy it now, it's also going to copy all the scripts. So we don't have to worry about re-scripting everything. So let's give him 2 friends. But we've got sprite 1 and sprite 2 now. This is our original R2-D2. So if we click on sprite 1, let's just go to the costume and edit it because we want to tell them apart. Now we've got white in here, so let's change that to maybe grey. So let's go to grey, and we're just going to click on it with the paint bucket tool, and that will just fill in the grey sections. And press OK. And this one, let's go back here, sprite 2. We can go edit, click on it here, and maybe we can make him yellow. There we go, it's a yellow robot. So we've got R2-D2 and his 2 friends. Now they're all going to dance, and they look like they're having a great time at their party or their disco. And we need just to put in some sound, something for them to dance to. So go back to scripts. Let's go to R2-D2 because we put it on the first one. In fact, we can go to stage. Let's put it on the stage. So when green flag clicked forever. Now this is where we have to go to sounds. Play sound until done. So we want to put that in there. But we don't want the pop sound. We actually want to get a sound that they can dance to. So if we go up to sounds, we're not going to record something. We're actually going to import it. So we go import, down to music loops, say OK. And let's see what we've got here. We've got drum set 1, drum set 2, and drum machine. Let's see what drum machine is like. That sounds good. So we say OK. I'm going to delete pop because we don't need that. Go to backgrounds, just double check. We've got the moon. Go to scripts. We've got pop. Click on R2D2. That all looks good. So if I press green flag, we should have dancing R2D2 and his friends with the sound music added. Okay, let's see what's going wrong there. Forever play sound, drum machine. There we go, we put it in. So this got a little tag there. It's a drop down menu, and the song that we've imported is drum machine. Okay, year 2, that's the R2 dance program. That's the end then.